The war did not begin with a scream or a missile. It began with silence. On the edge of known space, the planet Varnak floated like a scar in the dark. Its skies were brown with ash, and its ground was split by ancient cracks. The aliens who lived there were not builders. They were rulers. They did not grow food. They took it. They did not trade. They demanded. For centuries, they had controlled nearby systems through fear and fear alone. They called themselves the Karvesh. Their ships were shaped like blades. Their soldiers wore black armor that looked like insect shells. Their voices were cold, sharp, and full of pride. The Karvesh believed they were the final species, the strongest, the chosen. Humans were new to this region of space. They had arrived quietly, building small colonies on empty worlds. They had avoided conflict. They had offered trade. They had shared medicine and clean water technology. They had tried to be friendly. To the Karvesh, that kindness looked like weakness. The first attack came without warning. A Karvesh fleet dropped out of hyperspace above a human mining station near the moon Ardent 9. They did not ask for surrender. They did not open a channel. They fired. The station broke apart in seconds. Metal and fire scattered across the stars like sparks. Hundreds died before they even understood they were under attack. Then the Karvesh sent a message. It was short. This space is ours. Leave or be erased. The human leadership did not answer with threats. They asked for talks. They asked for peace. They asked for the return of survivors. The Karvesh laughed. More attacks followed. Human supply routes were cut. Outposts were burned. Colony domes were cracked open. The Karvesh did not just want territory. They wanted a lesson to be seen. And the lesson was simple. Humans were prey. On Earth, the High Council met in emergency session. Generals argued with diplomats. Some demanded revenge. Others begged for restraint. Humans were not ready for a full war. Not out there. Not that far from their main fleets. Their colonies were too spread out. Their defenses were too light, but the Karvesh did not stop. They pushed deeper. In the third week, a Karvesh cruiser captured a human transport ship. It carried refugees, families, children. It had no weapons. The Karvesh boarded it and took prisoners. Then they broadcasted the scene across every channel they could reach. The video was grainy but clear enough. Human adults were forced to kneel in a row. A Karvesh commander stood behind them, holding a blade made of dark metal. Behind him, a symbol burned on a screen, a dragon-shaped mark. The commander spoke slowly, as if teaching. "You humans do not understand power," he said. "You think ships and numbers matter, you think laws matter, but power is older than metal. Power is hunger, power is fear." Then he turned his head, looking off camera as if listening to something. "Our deadliest one is awake," he said. "And it is hungry." The broadcast ended there. That symbol, the dragon mark, was unknown to most humans, but not to all. In a quiet office on Luna Base, an old xenologist watched the footage with shaking hands. His name was Dr. Elias Marrow. He had spent his life studying alien myths. Most people called it useless work. He called it survival. He rewound the clip again and again, staring at the symbol. Then he whispered a word. "Vorthal." A young officer standing beside him frowned. "What does that mean?" Marrow did not answer right away. His face looked pale, like he had seen a ghost. "It is not a word," he said. "It is a name." The officer leaned closer. "A person." Marrow swallowed. "A creature." He opened an old digital archive and pulled up a file. It contained ancient reports from dead civilizations, warnings, fragments, stories recorded by species that no longer existed. Every file described the same thing. A dragon, not a fantasy beast from human fairy tales, but something worse, something real, something that lived between stars and fed on life. The report said it slept for long periods, hidden in deep space or buried inside dead worlds. When it woke, it demanded tribute. Entire planets would offer prisoners, animals, anything, hoping it would leave them alone. It never stayed satisfied for long. The Karvesh had found it centuries ago. They had not killed it. They had not tamed it. They had done something far more dangerous. They had made it their weapon. Marrow looked at the officer and spoke in a low voice. "If the Karvesh are showing that symbol, it means they are about to do something they have never done in open war," he said. "They are going to use Vorthal against us." The officer's eyes widened. "A dragon? That's impossible." Marrow gave a sad smile. "So were the Karvesh until we met them." Across human space, fear spread faster than ships. People who had never cared about distant colonies now watched the news with tight throats. The word dragon sounded childish at first. Then the leaked files began to circulate. The ancient warnings, the dead worlds, the missing species. The human public did not laugh anymore. In the outer colonies, human captains began to abandon stations. Some ran, some hid, some prepared for a last stand, but the Karvesh wanted something else. They wanted a symbol. They wanted a story that would break humans from the inside. 2 days later, the Karvesh broadcast again. This time, the video was clearer. It showed a stone arena under a red sky. Alien soldiers stood in rows. In the center was a massive pit. Heat rose from it like breath. A human child was brought forward. The child was small, wearing simple clothing. Dust covered their face. Their hands were tied. Their eyes were wide, but they did not scream. A Karvesh priest stepped forward. His armor was decorated with bones and sharp jewels. He raised his hands and spoke in a language that sounded like grinding rocks. Then he switched to human speech. "Humans," he said, "you have brought war to our sacred space. You have refused to kneel. You have refused to accept the truth." He pointed toward the pit. "This is the truth." A low sound rose from below, not a roar, something deeper. Like the planet itself was waking. The child turned their head slightly, looking down into the darkness. The priest continued, "We offer your young one to Vorthal. We offer your future. And we will show you what happens to those who challenge the Karvesh." The human leaders demanded the broadcast stop. They tried to jam it, but the signal had been sent through dozens of relays. Millions watched. On Earth, in the council chamber, no one spoke. The child stood at the edge of the pit. A Karvesh soldier shoved them forward, and then something strange happened. The child did not fall. The ground trembled, but not from the pit. From the child's side, a faint vibration like a distant engine. A human general leaned forward, eyes narrowed. "What is that?" he whispered. A technician checked the data feed. His fingers froze above the keyboard. "There's a signal," he said. "Coming from the child." The council members stared at him. "A signal?" The general repeated. The technician nodded slowly, as if he did not believe his own words. It's a beacon," he said. "Military grade. But it's not broadcasting to us, it's broadcasting to something else." Marrow's face tightened. "To what?" The technician swallowed. "To deep space." The Karvesh priest did not notice. He was still speaking, still proud. He raised his arms again. Below, the darkness moved. 2 eyes opened. They were not normal eyes. They were like burning suns behind smoke. The dragon's head rose, slow and massive, covered in jagged horns and golden-brown scales. Its teeth were long as knives. Its breath rolled upward like a storm. The crowd of Karvesh soldiers bowed instantly. The dragon looked at the child. For a moment, everything stopped. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then the dragon leaned closer, sniffing. Its nostrils flared, and its eyes changed, not with hunger, with confusion. The dragon pulled back slightly, as if something about the child did not make sense. The human council chamber filled with whispers. Marrow's hands clenched. He had seen these old stories before. Dragons did not hesitate. Dragons did not doubt, unless they recognized something. The beacon signal grew stronger. Somewhere far beyond the arena, beyond the fleets, beyond the colonies, something in deep space answered. And for the first time in centuries, the Karvesh did not look like the hunters. They looked like people who had made a terrible mistake. The arena shook again, harder this time. Dust fell from broken stone pillars. The Karvesh soldiers looked around, confused, but they still stayed bowed. They trusted the dragon more than they trusted their own leaders. Vorthal's head hovered over the pit like a mountain of scales and teeth. The creature's eyes were fixed on the human child. Its breathing was slow, heavy, and hot. Each breath sent sand and ash into the air. The child stood still. Their hands were tied, but their feet were firm. Their face was dirty and tears sat on their cheeks, but they did not cry out. Their small chest rose and fell fast, yet they did not run. The Karvesh priest finally noticed the hesitation. His pride shifted into anger. He raised his arms and shouted in his harsh language. "Take it," he ordered. "Consume the offering." The dragon did not obey. Vorthal's eyes narrowed. It leaned closer again, sniffing the child. Its lips pulled back slightly, showing long teeth. The crowd expected the bite. The end, the blood, but the dragon did something else. It spoke. The sound was not like words. It was like thunder forced into a shape. The air vibrated. Several Karvesh soldiers fell backward from the shock. The priest froze, his arms still raised. The dragon's voice rolled across the arena. "Human." The word was clear. The Karvesh did not understand it, but the human viewers did. Across human space, millions heard it through the broadcast and felt their stomachs twist. The child blinked, staring up at the creature. Vorthal lowered its head until one burning eye was close to the child's face. The child flinched but did not fall. The dragon spoke again. "Why marked?" The child did not answer. They were too young, too scared, too confused. But the beacon's signal on the human side continued to pulse. In the human council chamber, the technician's hands shook as he watched the signal data. "It's not random," he said. "It's coded like a military handshake." The general stared at the screen. How can a child carry that? Marrow's voice was low, because they were chosen. The council members turned to him. Chosen by who? One diplomat asked. Marrow looked at the dragon's eyes on the screen. By humans who knew this day would come. Far away, on a hidden station deep in the asteroid belt, a small team of humans watched the same broadcast. The station did not appear on any public map. It was black, silent, and built inside a hollow rock. Its systems were old but powerful. It carried no flags. Inside, a woman stood in front of a large display. Her hair was tied back. Her uniform was plain. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Her name was Commander Sierra Vance. She watched the child with a tight jaw, then she looked at the signal monitor. "It's active," her officer said. "The beacon is live." Vance nodded once. "Good." The officer hesitated. "Ma'am, if the Karvesh realize what the child is." "They won't," Vance said. "Not in time." The officer swallowed. "And if the dragon eats the child?" Vance's eyes did not move from the screen. "Then we lose the last key." The officer did not ask what that meant. He already knew. Everyone on that station knew. They had trained for this for years. They had prepared in silence while the rest of humanity built farms and cities and hoped peace would last. They were not a public fleet. They were the shadow response. A secret human force designed for one purpose, to face threats no one wanted to admit were real. On the arena screen, the Karvesh priest stepped forward again. His voice shook, but he tried to hide it. "Great Vorthal," he said, now speaking in a softer tone. "This offering is yours. This is our tribute. Destroy the human spirit as you always have." Vorthal did not look at him. The dragon's attention remained on the child. Its eyes burned like fire, but there was something else there now. Not kindness, not mercy, something older, recognition. Vorthal's claws gripped the edge of the pit. The stone cracked under the pressure. "Not food," the dragon said. The priest stiffened. He looked around at the soldiers, hoping they would back him, but the soldiers looked afraid. They had never seen the dragon refuse. The priest's pride snapped. He turned and shouted at the guards holding the child's leash rope. "Throw it in," he screamed. "Now!" The guards hesitated. Their hands trembled. The priest grabbed the rope himself and yanked the child forward. The child stumbled. Their knees hit the stone. Their small hands scraped the ground. They looked up terrified right into the dragon's face. Vorthal's head moved fast, not toward the child, toward the priest. The dragon's jaws snapped shut around the priest's upper body. There was no scream, just one sudden movement, one sharp crunch, and then silence. The arena froze. The priest's legs fell to the ground, still wearing armor. Karvesh soldiers stared in shock. Some dropped their weapons, others backed away like frightened animals. Vorthal lifted its head and swallowed. Then the dragon spoke again, louder, shaking the air. "Lies." The Karvesh commander who stood near the pit stepped forward, trying to regain control. His voice was shaky. "Great One," he said. "We serve you. We have always served you." Vorthal turned its gaze toward him. The commander's knees buckled. He forced himself not to fall. The dragon's voice became deeper. "You use me," it said. "You pretend, you chain, you feed, you think you rule." The commander's throat moved as he swallowed. "You are Vorthal," he whispered. "You are our weapon." The dragon's eyes flashed. "Weapon?" It repeated. The word sounded almost like anger. Vorthal lowered its head again until its teeth were inches from the commander's face. The commander shook, but he tried to speak. "We awakened you," he said. "We gave you tribute, we gave you worlds." Vorthal's nostrils flared. "You stole," it said. "You brought me weak meals, you brought me fear, you made me smaller." The commander's eyes widened. "Smaller?" Vorthal's head lifted slowly. "I was not born in pits," it said. "I was born in the dark between suns. I was not meant to be caged. I was not meant to be worshipped by insects." The Karvesh soldiers flinched at the insult. Their pride was strong, but fear was stronger. The child, still on the ground, stared at the dragon with wide eyes. Vorthal looked back at the child. Then it spoke a strange sentence. "Human blood remembers." Across the human networks, Marrow's face went pale. "What did it say?" the general demanded. Marrow's voice was almost a whisper. "It recognizes something in humans," he said. "Something ancient." The technician pointed at the signal graph. "The beacon just spiked," he said, "like it's responding to the dragon." In the hidden station, Commander Vance leaned forward. "Lock on," she ordered. Her officer's fingers moved fast. Locked. Vance's eyes stayed cold. "Begin phase 1, she said. Outside the station, deep in the asteroid field, black ships began to wake. They were small, fast, and silent. Their hulls absorbed light. Their engines did not glow. They moved like shadows. Back in the arena, Vorthal lowered its head close to the child again. The child's lips moved slightly. No one heard the words, but the dragon did. Vorthal's eyes narrowed. The dragon's body shifted, and its wings spread wider. The wind from the wings knocked Karvesh soldiers off their feet. Vorthal rose higher from the pit, finally showing its full size. It was bigger than any ship the humans had seen in this war. Its scars looked old. Its scales looked like armor made by nature itself. The Karvesh commander stepped back, panic now clear on his face. "You will obey," he shouted, desperate. "You are ours." Vorthal's head turned slowly. The dragon's voice became a roar. "No." The sound shook the arena so hard that stone cracked in long lines. Several pillars fell. The Karvesh soldiers ran. Vorthal looked up toward the sky, toward the distant stars, toward the deep space signal that had answered the child's beacon. And then, for the first time, the dragon screamed a call that was not hunger. It was a summons, a signal to something older than the Karvesh, something that had been sleeping, something that had been waiting. The dragon's scream did not sound like an animal. It sounded like a star tearing open. Across the arena, Karvesh soldiers fell to the ground, covering their heads. Some dropped their rifles and ran. Others froze in place, their bodies shaking. The commander stood stiff, staring up at the creature as if he had never truly seen it before. Vorthal's wings remained spread, blocking the red sky like a storm cloud. The child was still on the ground, breathing fast, but alive. Dust swirled around them in circles, pulled by the force of the dragon's movement. The broadcast continued, but the Karvesh had lost control of it. Their cameras shook. Their signal flickered, yet the galaxy watched. In human space, panic rose like fire. People screamed at screens. Some cried, some prayed, some demanded revenge. But behind the fear, something else appeared for the first time since the war began. Hope, not because the dragon was kind. It was not hope because the dragon had turned on the Karvesh. In the council chamber, the general slammed his fist on the table. "We need to act now," he said. "If the dragon is breaking free, we either help it or kill it before it turns on us." A diplomat shook his head. "You want to help a monster?" Marrow spoke quietly. "It may not be a monster, not in the way we think." The general glared at him. "Doctor, it just ate an alien priest." Marrow nodded. "Yes." Because the priest tried to force it, that tells us something. The technician interrupted, voice tense. "The beacon is still active, and there's a response, multiple responses." "From where?" the general demanded. The technician looked up slowly. "From beyond our chart's deep space. It's like something heard the dragon." Marrow's eyes narrowed. Or something heard the child. Far away in the asteroid belt, Commander Sierra Vance stood in the Shadow Station's control room. Her face remained calm, but her mind moved fast. She watched the signal lines cross and merge on the screen. Her officer pointed. "The dragon is broadcasting on an ancient frequency. Not Karvesh, not human, it's older." Vance nodded. "That's why the beacon was built." The officer hesitated. "Ma'am, what if the council finds out we used a child?" Vance's jaw tightened. "They'll find out later if we win." The officer lowered his eyes. Vance turned to the main display where the child's face filled the screen. The child looked terrified, but there was a strange steadiness in their eyes now, like they were listening to something no one else could hear. Vance whispered almost to herself, "Hold on." Outside the station, the shadow response ships moved in formation. Their engines were quiet. Their hulls were coated in dark material that swallowed light. Each ship carried weapons designed for one purpose, to fight things that normal fleets could not. They jumped to hyperspace. Back on Varnak, Vorthal lowered its head again. The Karvesh commander tried to run, but his legs failed. He stumbled and fell on the cracked stone. The dragon's voice rolled like distant thunder. "You fed me lies," it said. The commander crawled backward, trying to escape. "You promised me fear," Vorthal continued, "but you never gave me truth." The commander shook his head. "We gave you worlds, we gave you millions." Vorthal's eyes narrowed. "You gave me meat," it said, "not truth." The commander blinked, confused. "What do you want?" Vorthal looked down at the human child. "I want the blood that remembers," it said. The child slowly pushed up onto their knees. Their hands were still tied, but their voice came out, small and shaky. "I don't know you," the child whispered. The Karvesh soldiers froze. They had not expected the human to speak. Vorthal leaned closer, its massive eye reflecting the child's face. "You do," the dragon said. Not in mind, in bone. The child swallowed. I'm scared. Vorthal's lips moved, almost like a smile, but not friendly, more like curiosity. Good, it said. Fear is honest. Then Vorthal lifted its head toward the sky again, its nostrils flared, its eyes focused beyond the clouds. The dragon's voice became sharper. They are coming. The Karvesh commander looked up terrified. Who? Vorthal did not answer. The sky above Varnak changed. At first it was just a ripple in the clouds. Then the air itself twisted like space was bending. A bright line appeared, cutting across the red sky. A tear opened. Something huge began to push through. Karvesh soldiers screamed. Even the bravest dropped to their knees. The commander's mouth hung open. A ship emerged, not Karvesh, not human. It was shaped like a curved blade, but not metallic. It looked grown, like bone and crystal mixed together. It glowed with pale light. Symbols moved across its surface like living writing. Then a second ship appeared, then a third, dozens. They formed a silent ring above the arena, blocking the sun. The broadcast signal became clearer as if the new ships were boosting it. The entire galaxy could see. The Karvesh commander trembled. Those are not ours, he whispered. Vorthal spoke with a low growl. Old masters, it said. Marrow watched from Luna Base, eyes wide. I've seen that design, he whispered. In the archives, the general leaned forward. What are they? Marrow's throat moved as he swallowed. The first kin, the diplomat frowned. First kin of who? Marrow's voice shook. Of the dragons. On Varnak, one of the glowing ships sent a beam of light down into the arena. It did not burn, it scanned. The beam touched the dragon's scales, then moved to the child. The child flinched as the light covered them. A voice came through the air. It did not come from speakers, it came from inside the mind, clear and cold. Vorthal, it said, you have broken the chain. Vorthal's wings lifted slightly. I have, the dragon replied. The voice continued. You have eaten the keeper. You have refused the offering. You have awakened the old signal. The dragon's eyes narrowed. You kept me hungry, Vorthal said. You let insects pretend they owned me. The voice was calm, like a judge. You were bound for a reason, it said. Your hunger destroys worlds. Vorthal growled. Your reason was control. The voice paused, then it spoke again. And the human child, why is it here? Vorthal looked down at the child. The blood remembers, it said again. The sky above Varnak felt heavier, as if the planet itself was afraid. The ring of glowing alien ships remained still, silent, watching everything below. The Karvesh soldiers did not move. Their confidence was gone. Their weapons felt useless in their hands. The human child stood slowly, legs shaking but firm. The rope still bound their wrists, but they no longer looked as small as before. Fear was still there, but something else stood beside it. Resolve. Vorthal watched the child closely. The dragon's massive head lowered until it was level with the human. Its voice was quieter now, no longer thunder. You do not know what you carry, Vorthal said. The child nodded. I know I'm human. That answer made the dragon pause. Above them, the voice of the first kin spoke again, filling the air. Human, it said. Step away from the dragon. The child looked up at the sky, squinting at the bright shapes. Why? Because it will destroy you, the voice replied. The child shook their head slowly. Everyone says that about humans too. The silence that followed was deep. On Luna Base, Marrow closed his eyes. He felt something ancient stir in his memory, something he had only seen hinted at in broken texts. In the council chamber, the general whispered, That kid, they're talking back. Marrow opened his eyes. So did our ancestors. The voice from the sky grew sharper. You are not part of this, it said. This is between old powers. Vorthal's wings twitched. You made it their war. The dragon lifted its head toward the alien ships. You let insects chain me, Vorthal continued. You ignored my calls, now the humans answer. The voice hesitated just for a moment. That signal, it said. It was not meant for you. Vorthal's eyes narrowed, yet it woke me. In deep space, the shadow response fleet exited hyperspace. They did not arrive with noise or fire. They arrived like ghosts. Their ships slid into position at the edge of the system, just outside the alien fleet's formation. Sensors flared. Energy levels rose. The first kin ships noticed immediately. New symbols flashed across their hulls. Their formation shifted slightly, defensive but uncertain. Commander Sierra Vance stood on the bridge of the lead shadow ship. Her hands were behind her back. Her posture was calm. They see us, her officer said. Good, Vance replied. Open a channel. The officer hesitated. To which one? All of them, Vance said. A pulse of coded signals spread outward, touching every ship in the system. On Varnak, the first kin voice stopped mid-thought. A new voice joined the broadcast. It was human. "This is Commander Sierra Vance of the United Human Shadow Response," Vance said. Her voice was steady, clear, and calm. "You are observing a human under duress. That violates our protection protocols." The Karvesh commander stared up at the sky, confused. "More humans?" Vorthal's eyes shifted slightly, listening. The first kin voice answered, colder now. "Humans," it said. "You should not be here." Vance did not argue. "We've heard that before," the voice continued. "This matter does not concern you." Vance tilted her head slightly. "It concerns us when you let our people be used as offerings." The first kin paused. "You are weak," the voice said. "Your kind is young." Vance's lips curved into a small smile. "So was fire once." On Earth, millions leaned closer to their screens. Marrow whispered, "She's doing it." The general asked, "Doing what?" "Reminding them," Marrow replied. Vance continued speaking. "You call yourselves first kin," she said. "You claim to manage ancient forces, yet you let a predator rot in chains. You let bullies use it as a tool. That's not balance. That's laziness." The alien ships glowed brighter. "Careful, human," the voice warned. Vance's eyes hardened. "No, you be careful." She gestured to her officer. "Show them." Data streams opened. Ancient files, long buried, transmitted outward. Records older than the Karvesh, older than most star maps. Images filled the alien sensors. Humans, not as they were now, but as they had been long ago. Tall structures orbiting dead stars, machines bending gravity. Ships diving into the dark between galaxies. The first kin ships shifted. "That is impossible," the voice said. "Humans were primitive when we last observed this region." Vance nodded. "Because we chose to forget." The child on the arena floor felt a warmth in their chest. Not pain, not fear, like something clicking into place. Vorthal watched the child closely. "Blood remembers," the dragon repeated. Vance continued. "Long ago, humanity learned a lesson," she said. "We burned ourselves chasing power, so we stepped back. We broke our empires. We hid our teeth." The first kin voice lowered. "You abandoned your strength." Vance shook her head. "No. We locked it away." The alien ships remained silent. Vance's tone sharpened. "And when something like the Karvesh shows up," she said, "we unlock just enough." On Varnak, the Karvesh commander screamed into the sky. "You lie," he shouted. "Humans are weak. We crush them." Vorthal turned its head slowly toward him. The dragon's voice was calm but deadly. "You crushed farmers," it said, "not hunters." The commander froze. The first kin voice spoke again, slower now. "You placed a child here," it said. "Why?" Vance answered before anyone else could. "Because children are honest," she said. "They don't carry old pride, they don't speak lies, and they still remember what we were taught." The child looked down at their hands. The ropes around their wrists began to vibrate softly. Vorthal noticed. The dragon leaned closer. "Do you hear it?" it asked. The child nodded. "It's loud." "What do you hear?" Vorthal asked. The child swallowed. "A promise." The rope snapped. The Karvesh soldiers gasped. The child's hands were free. The first kin ships glowed brighter. Energy levels spiked. "You are interfering," the voice said. Vance's eyes did not move. "We're participating." The dragon lifted its wings higher. "You kept me asleep," Vorthal said to the first kin. "You let others feed me lies. The humans wake me with truth." The voice replied tense. "Truth destroys." Vorthal's teeth showed. "So does hunger." The child took a small step forward. The ground did not shake. The dragon did not move away. "I don't want monsters to control anyone," the child said softly. "Not dragons, not aliens. Not humans." The words echoed. The first kin voice fell silent. In that silence, something shifted. Commander Vance's officer whispered, "Ma'am, their formation is breaking." Vance nodded. "They're listening." On Varnak, the Karvesh soldiers backed away. Their empire, built on fear, was cracking. Vorthal looked at the child one last time. "You speak like the old ones," the dragon said. The child looked up. "My mom says we try." Vorthal slowly turned toward the sky. "I choose," the dragon said. The first kin voice returned, cautious. "Choose what?" Vorthal's wings spread fully. "Freedom," it said. And for the first time since the war began, the balance of power shifted completely. The moment Vorthal said the word freedom, the Karvesh Empire began to die. It did not happen slowly. It happened like glass breaking. The Karvesh commander stumbled backward, staring up at the dragon with wide eyes. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. His soldiers looked between him and Vorthal, unsure what to do. For their entire lives, they had been taught one truth. The dragon obeys. Now that truth was gone. Above the arena, the first kin ships shifted again. Their glowing symbols moved faster like nervous thoughts. Their ring formation loosened. Some ships drifted backward as if they feared getting too close. Commander Sierra Vance watched from her bridge, eyes sharp. She saw the change. "They're not sure," her officer said. "They never are," Vance replied. "Not when humans stop acting small." The first kin voice returned, colder than before. "Vorthal," it said, "stand down, return to the pit, return to the chain." Vorthal's head lifted slowly. "No," the dragon said. The word hit the system like a shockwave. The first kin ships brightened, energy built inside them. "Not weapons yet, but warning. You do not understand the danger," the voice said. "You are hunger, you are destruction." Vorthal's eyes narrowed. "And you are control," it replied. On the ground, the child stood beside the edge of the pit. Wind from the dragon's wings pushed dust across their face. The child wiped their eyes with a trembling hand. The child looked at the Karvesh soldiers, then at the dragon, then at the sky. "Stop fighting," the child said. No one listened. Because war had already chosen its path. A Karvesh soldier, shaking with fear and pride, lifted his rifle and fired at the child. The shot was fast. The sound cracked across the arena. The child flinched. The bullet never reached them. Vorthal moved faster than anyone thought possible. One massive claw swept down, and the bullet shattered against the dragon's scales like a raindrop hitting rock. The dragon's head turned toward the soldier. The soldier froze. Vorthal did not eat him. Instead, the dragon roared. The roar was not hunger, it was fury. The Karvesh soldiers broke. Some fired wildly, others ran. The arena turned into chaos. Vorthal lifted its wings and slammed them down. A shockwave of wind blasted across the ground. Karvesh bodies flew. Weapons skidded away. Dust rose like a storm. The child was knocked backward, but Vorthal lowered its head and blocked the force, shielding the child with its own body. Millions watched this moment. A dragon shielding a human child. Across human space, something changed. People stopped crying. They stopped begging. They stared at their screens with a strange new emotion. Anger, not weak anger. The kind that becomes action. On Earth, the general stood up so fast his chair fell behind him. "Launch every fleet," he said. "Now." A diplomat shouted, "You'll start a full war." The general's eyes burned. "It already started," he said. "We're just late." Marrow looked at the screen, his voice quiet. "The dragon chose," he said. "Now we must choose too." In deep space, Vance received the same orders. She did not smile, she simply nodded. "Signal the public fleets," she said. "Tell them the mask is off." Her officer hesitated. "All of them?" "All of them," Vance repeated. A message went out through human channels, encrypted and clear. It carried a code phrase that had not been used in centuries. "Awaken the sleeping teeth." Across human territory, ships that had been called cargo carriers changed their shape. Hidden weapon ports opened. Armor plating slid into place. Old reactors roared back to life. Humanity's real fleet began to rise. On Varnak, the Karvesh commander crawled away from the pit, screaming into his comm device. "Destroy the arena," he shouted. "Kill the child, kill the dragon. Call the fleet." In the sky, Karvesh warships began to descend from orbit. They were shaped like blades, sharp and black. Their cannons warmed. Vorthal looked up. The dragon's eyes narrowed. The child looked up too, trembling. "They're going to shoot you," the child whispered. Vorthal's voice was low. "Let them try," it said. The first Karvesh ship fired. A beam of hot plasma cut through the sky, aimed at the dragon's head. Vorthal moved, not dodging but turning. The beam hit its shoulder. The scales glowed bright, then dimmed. Smoke rose. Vorthal did not fall. It laughed. The sound was terrifying. The Karvesh ships fired again. Multiple beams struck the dragon's wings and back. The dragon's body shook, but it stayed standing. Then Vorthal lifted its head and breathed. Fire poured from its mouth, but it was not normal fire. It was white-hot, mixed with sparks of blue. It looked like a star being poured into the air. The flame hit the nearest Karvesh ship. The ship melted, not exploded, melted. Its metal turned soft, then ran like liquid. It fell from the sky in pieces, crashing into the sand beyond the arena. Karvesh ships pulled back in panic. The first kin ships above watched in silence. Their voice spoke again. "This is why you were chained," it said. Vorthal's eyes burned. "This is why I was feared," the dragon replied. The child took a step closer to the dragon. "Don't kill everyone," the child said softly. Vorthal glanced down at the child. "Then tell them to stop," it said. The child looked at the Karvesh soldiers running across the sand. They looked terrified now, not proud, not cruel, just afraid. The child's voice rose, small but clear. "Stop!" The child shouted, "Please stop." The Karvesh did not stop, because fear had never taught them peace. In the sky, human ships arrived. The first wave came through hyperspace like lightning. Sleek human cruisers, dark and strong, spread into formation. Behind them came larger carriers and battle platforms. Human weapons charged. The Karvesh fleet hesitated. They had expected weak colony ships. They had expected slow human defenses. They did not expect this. Commander Vance's shadow ships moved into position beside the public fleets like older wolves joining the pack. Vance opened a channel to the Karvesh. "This is Commander Vance," she said. "You attacked civilians. You used a child. You used an ancient creature as a tool. This ends now." The Karvesh commander screamed back, "You are nothing. You are insects." Vance's voice stayed calm. "Funny," she said. "That's what the dragon called you." The Karvesh fired first. A storm of plasma and missiles shot toward the human fleet. Human ships did not panic. They moved. Their formation shifted smoothly like a living thing. Defensive shields flared. Missiles were intercepted. Plasma beams bent around curved gravity fields. The Karvesh watched in shock. Humans were not struggling. Humans were dancing. Then the human fleet fired back. The first human volley was not loud. It was silent. Space bent. Karvesh ships began to tear apart as if invisible hands were ripping them open. Their armor twisted. Their engines failed. Their weapon systems shut down. One by one, Karvesh ships went dark. The Karvesh commander stared at his screen, shaking. "What are they?" he whispered. On the ground, Vorthal watched the battle above like it was nothing. The dragon's voice was quiet. "This is the truth," it said. The child looked up at the sky full of fire. "What truth?" the child asked. Vorthal's eyes shifted toward the child. "That humans are not prey," the dragon said. "They never were." Above them, the first kin ships began to move again, pulling back, uncertain. And for the first time, the first kin sounded afraid. "Human commander," the voice said, speaking to Vance. "You are awakening old violence." Vance answered without hesitation. "No," she said. "You're just finally seeing it." The battle above Varnak slowed, then stopped, not because the Karvesh had won, because they no longer could fight. Their ships drifted broken and silent across space. Some burned slowly. Others were torn apart, frozen in strange, twisted shapes. The proud, blade-shaped fleet that once ruled fear was gone. Human ships held position. They did not chase, they did not celebrate, they waited. On the ground, the Karvesh soldiers had fallen to their knees. Their weapons lay scattered in the sand. Their armor looked dull now, like shells without life inside. The Karvesh commander knelt too. His head was bowed, his voice was gone. Above them, the first kin ships floated in a loose formation. Their glow was dimmer than before. Their confidence was cracked. Commander Sira Vance stood on her bridge, hands clasped behind her back. She watched the dragon, the child, and the silent alien ships. "This is your moment," her officer said quietly. Vance nodded. "Yes, for all of us." The first kin voice returned, slower, no longer cold. "Human commander," it said. "You have proven strength." Vance did not answer right away. "You have broken balance," the voice continued. "You have freed a destroyer." Vorthal lifted its massive head. "I am not a destroyer," the dragon said. "I am a choice." The first kin ships shifted slightly. "That is what frightens us," the voice admitted. The child stood beside the dragon, looking very small against its massive form. The child's legs still shook, but they did not step away. The child looked up at the sky. "Why do you control things?" the child asked. The question was simple. The first kin paused. "Because without control," the voice said, "everything burns." The child frowned, "But you controlled the dragon." And things still burned. Silence followed. On Earth, Marrow closed his eyes. A slow smile touched his face. "They're listening," he whispered. Vorthal lowered its head until it was close to the child. "Humans ask dangerous questions," the dragon said. The child nodded. "My mom says questions are how we grow." The first kin spoke again, quieter now. "Human," the voice said, "your species once held great power. Why did you abandon it?" Commander Vance answered this time. "We didn't abandon it," she said. "We learned from it." The first kin waited. Vance continued. "Long ago, humans nearly destroyed themselves," she said. "We learned that power without restraint turns into fear, so we chose something harder. The alien ships remained silent. We chose responsibility," Vance said. The first kin voice sounded uncertain. "And now?" Vance looked at the child. "Now we choose again," she said. Vorthal spread its wings slowly, not in threat, but in presence. "I will not be chained," the dragon said. "I will not be worshipped. I will not be used." The first kin replied, "Then what will you be?" Vorthal looked at the child. "I will decide," the dragon said. The child took a deep breath. "You don't have to hurt everyone to be free," the child said softly. Vorthal studied the small human for a long moment. You speak like one who has seen fear, the dragon said. The child nodded. I was very scared. And yet you stood, Vorthal said. The child shrugged slightly. Someone had to. The dragon's eyes softened just a little. The first kin spoke again. Human commander, the voice said, if we withdraw, if we leave this region, what happens next? Vance answered without anger. Then we rebuild, she said, and we remember. Remember what? The voice asked. That no species should rule through fear, Vance replied. Not humans, not dragons, not you. The first kinship slowly began to pull back. Their formation opened, creating a path through the stars. We will watch, the voice said. Closely, Vance nodded. We expect nothing less. One by one, the first kinships vanished into deep space. The sky over Varnak cleared, the red clouds thinned, the light felt different. The Karvesh commander collapsed fully,